Good day, students. You're welcome to our SS1 Economics class. This is Federal Government College, Port Harcourt, your e-learning segment. The topic for today is change in demand and change in quantity demanded. This lesson is presented by your teacher, Mrs. Chiazo, and at the end of this lesson, you are supposed to be able to explain change in quantity demanded and change in demand. You're also able to you should be able to draw the graph showing increase and decrease in demand and quantity demanded. Now, change in quantity demanded. We're going to start with change in quantity demanded. A change in quantity demanded means a movement on a particular demand curve from one point to another, which is caused by a change in price of that commodity. Change in quantity demanded is of two parts: increase in quantity demanded and decrease in quantity demanded. For you to be able to understand this very well, you should be able to know your demand curve, which we discussed in the first lesson when we treated theory of demand. Now let's look at increase in quantity demanded. An increase in quantity demanded is brought about by the price of that commodity. If there's an increase in the quantity demanded, this is as a result of the price, that is decrease in price of the commodity. The curve will appear as you are seeing on the screen. When there is an increase in the quantity demanded, it means that price has reduced. When price was 50 naira, the quantity demanded of that particular product, say apple, was 30 pieces. When the price reduced from 50 naira to 20 naira, the quantity demanded increased to 45 pieces of apple. So you see that increase in quantity demanded is brought about by a decrease in the price of that commodity. Now the second one is decrease in the quantity demanded. A decrease in the quantity demanded is brought about by an increase in price of the commodity. When the price of a commodity increases, the quantity demanded of that commodity will reduce. Now let's look at the graph that is on your screen. When the price of the commodity was 10 naira, the quantity demanded of that commodity was 50 pieces. And when the price increased to 30 naira, quantity demanded reduced to 20 pieces. So a decrease in the quantity demanded is caused by an increase in the price of that commodity. Change in demand. A change in demand is also known as shift in the demand curve. Change in demand is also known as a shift in the demand curve. This is different from a change in quantity demanded in that it causes a shift in the demand curve to an entirely new position. While the change in quantity demanded is just a movement, on a particular demand curve, change in demand is a shift in the demand curve. It causes a shift in the demand curve either to the left or to the right, as the case may be. And a shift in demand is determined by other factors affecting demand apart from price of a commodity. There are many factors affecting demand: the price of the commodity, the price of other commodities, population, change in income, change in the price of other commodities, close substitutes, and so on. So these factors can cause a change in demand, but the only thing that can cause a change in quantity demanded, as we discussed earlier, is the price. So let's go on. Change in demand is also of two parts. Change in demand is of two parts. Number one is the increase in demand. When there is an increase in demand, the demand curve shifts to the right, showing that at the old price, more commodities will be demanded. Why? Why are you demanding more commodities at the old price? It might be that your income has increased. Because your salary has increased, you will now decide to buy more of a particular product. Now look at the graph. The first demand curve is DODO, where you see DODO, and the price remains static because price does not count here. Other factors, is other factors that affect change in demand, not the price. So that's why the price is static here. So when you look at the curve, you will see that from DO, the curve shifts, moves to the right, D1, showing an increase in demand. When demand increases, the curve will shift to the right, showing an increase. And when the curve shifts to the right, the quantity demanded also moves up from 60 to 80. Decrease in demand. The second point that affects the second point about a change in demand is a decrease in demand. A decrease in demand causes the demand curve to shift to the left, showing that less of the commodity is demanded at the old price. This may be caused by change in taste or other factors. Change in taste or decrease in the price of close substitute. Now, when you look at the graph, you will see that the graph moves from DODO to D1. Look at the arrow, it is coming down. The graph shifted to the curve shifted to the left, showing a decrease in demand. Maybe a particular product, you've been buying a particular product, but the fashion in the rainy season, you've been buying maybe 80 umbrellas. Now that rainy season is over, the demand for umbrella, decreased. Demand for umbrella decreased from, as it shifted to the left, demand decreased from 65 to 40. And it could be that maybe close substitute like Milo and Ovaltine. Maybe you discover that Ovaltine has become cheaper than Milo, then you leave off using Milo to using Ovaltine, and it will cause the demand for Milo to come down, even though the price is still the same. I'm sure you've been able to understand the difference between change in quantity demanded and change in demand. I told you earlier that change in quantity demanded is just a movement along a particular demand curve, and it can also be maybe expansion or contraction, that is increase or decrease depending on the price. And I said that change in quantity demanded is brought about by change in price, no other factor. But change in demand is brought about by change in other factors that affects demand. So from this, you have your assignment on the board. Number 1, explain the difference between a shift in demand and a movement. A shift in demand and a movement in demand. a shift in demand and a movement in demand. And then number 2, list 4 factors that can cause a change in demand. You know how to submit your assignment. You know the website where you submit your assignment. Till we come back for the next lesson, I encourage you to stay safe, stay indoors, and also wash your hands regularly. Thank you.